Eager to avenge the millions of soldiers and innocents killed in Mother Russia during the past 4 years, the Red Army pushed westward into the heart of the fatherland. Operation Barbarossa, the deadly German invasion of the Soviet Union in 1941, witnessed many atrocities on both sides during the clash of ideologies. After the conclusion of World War II in 1945, the Soviet Union played a major role in shaping the post-war fate of Germany. The relationship between the Soviet Union and a divided Germany during the immediate post-war period was complex and marked by a combination of strategic and political considerations. As we delve into the Soviet treatment of Germany after World War II, it's essential to consider various aspects such as occupation decisions from a vengeful nation, economic measures of the communist system, and political developments spanning into the Cold War. This is History Station. It is important to note that discussing this topic can be disturbing and triggering to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Soviet authorities in East Germany implemented harsh policies to suppress dissent and maintain strict control over the population. The establishment of the Stasi, the Ministry for State Security, exemplified the extent to which the East German government, under Soviet influence, sought to monitor and control the population. This apparatus became infamous for its widespread surveillance, repression of political dissent, and creation of an atmosphere of fear. Further fanning this fear was the KGB, the Soviet Russian state secret service. The KGB sought to fight against the Western powers in clandestine fashion. The political repression in East Germany was not solely a Soviet directive, but also a manifestation of the broader ideological struggle of the Cold War. Following the Nazi invasion of the Soviet Union, spreading communist ideology and government beyond their initial borders became a primary task. The Allied powers, including the Soviet Union, divided Germany into 4 occupation zones, each controlled by one of the major allies: the United States, the United Kingdom, and France in Western Germany, and the Soviet Union occupying East Germany. Berlin, despite being located in the Soviet zone, was similarly divided into 4 sectors. The initial idea behind this division was to ensure the shared responsibility of managing post-war Germany. After the horror of the German invasion, the Soviet Union viewed Eastern Europe as a crucial buffer zone against potential future invasions. Consequently, the Soviet approach towards German territories was marked by a combination of pragmatism for Russian interests and strategic control of puppet governments. In the early post-war years, the Soviet Union pursued policies aimed at extracting harsh reparations from Germany. These reparations were not only a means to compensate the immense Soviet losses during the war, but also as a strategy to weaken Germany economically and prevent its resurgence as a military power. This was especially true as the West sought to rearm Germany in preparation for the following Cold War. Soviet authorities looked to dismantle industrial facilities in their zone, squeezing transport, equipment, and resources back to the Soviet Union. The scale of reparations and the extent of economic exploitation varied among the Allied powers, but the Soviet Union was particularly assertive in extracting resources. This economic exploitation, coupled with the broader Soviet influence over East Germany, among other Eastern European countries, contributed to the economic challenges faced by the newly formed German Democratic Republic, or GDR. The post-war political landscape in Germany was significantly influenced by the ideological differences between the Soviet Union and the Western Allies. In the Soviet-occupied zone, the establishment of a socialist state aligned with Soviet principles became a priority. The Socialist Unity Party, SED, emerged as the dominant political force in East Germany, and the country was officially established as the German Democratic Republic in 1949. Following the establishment of the new government, other political parties were pushed out or outright banned. The formation of the Federal Republic of Germany in Western zones marked the contrast between the two German states. While the East followed communist socialism, the West rearmed and reinvigorated its economy through the Marshall Plan as the world left the harsh times of World War II and the Great Depression behind. The division of Germany into East and West not only reflected the ideological rift between the Soviet Union and the Western Allies, but also set the stage for the broader Cold War confrontation with repercussions that can still be seen in the modern world today. In 1948, the Soviet Union implemented the Berlin Blockade, a move aimed at pressuring Western allies to abandon West Berlin. The blockade cut off all land and water routes to West Berlin, which was situated deep within the Soviet zone of Eastern Germany. However, instead of capitulating to Soviet demands, the Western Allies responded with the Berlin airlift. A monumental logistical effort, the Berlin airlift involved supplying West Berlin with essential goods and provisions via air corridors. This strategic maneuver not only thwarted the Soviet attempt to force Allies out of Berlin, but also highlighted the determination of the West to resist Soviet pressure. The successful airlift marked a significant setback for the Soviet Union and underscored the widening rift between the Eastern and Western blocs. While the remaining post-war years were marked by tension and ideological confrontation, there were instances of gradual normalization in Soviet-German relations. The death of Joseph Stalin in 1953 brought around a shift of Soviet policies under Nikita Khrushchev, who sought to ease tensions and pursue a policy of peaceful coexistence. The era of détente in the late 1950s and early 1960s witnessed efforts to improve relations between East and West Germany. The signing of the Basic Treaty in 1972, which established diplomatic relations between the two German states, was a significant step towards normalization. However, despite diplomatic developments, the division between East and West Germany persisted throughout the Cold War. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 and the subsequent collapse of the socialist regimes in Eastern Europe marked a turning point in the relationship between the Soviet Union and Germany. The reunification of East and West Germany in 1990 symbolized the end of the Cold War era and the dismantling of ideological and physical barriers that divided the country for decades. The reunification process, while a momentous occasion, also brought challenges, especially in terms of economic integration and addressing the disparities between the two German states. The Soviet Union, undergoing its own tumultuous transformation, played a relatively passive role in the reunification process, as the focus shifted from ideological confrontation to managing the complexities of post-Cold War Europe. Overall, the Soviet treatment of Germany after World War II was multifaceted and shaped by a combination of geopolitical considerations, ideological imperatives, and the broader context of history before the Cold War. The division of Germany into East and West, the economic exploitation, political reorganization, and instances of tension, such as the Berlin blockade, all contributed to a complex relationship that evolved over the decades. The legacy of this period continues to influence the historical narrative of post-war Europe and the reunified Germany that emerged from the shadows of the Cold War. If there is a subject you would like covered on this channel, please let us know. Be sure to comment and subscribe. Thank you for watching History Station.